It was definitely a week of smiles on the faces of Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the Packers this week as they trounced the Falcons to keep us undefeated. We'll recap the game and share your feedback from this feel-good game of the year, all next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Four and go Pack go to you and yours. Wayne Henderson here with you. Thankful we didn't have to stress out too much during the game this week and could just sit back and enjoy the beauty of the green and gold at Lambeau Field.
And I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and I'm counting on my fingers. 1, 2, 3. Which reminds me, our voicemail line number is 920-3-PACK-GO, and we've got some great feedback from all of you this week, as well as some emails and social media comments celebrating the fantastic week of football we had. Also on this 209th episode, what do we love and what do we not love so much from the Pack's huge win over the Falcons? We'll definitely get to that.
And the Packers are heading into their much-needed bye week. But first, let's talk about that Monday night Falcons at Packers game. Great opening drive, ending with a wide-open Aaron Jones for a touchdown, right?
Oh, it was so great, man. That opening drive just made me think there's no way we're going to have a chance of losing this game. It was just on fire from that point on. I was starting to get nervous because of our score and everything like that. I'm like, oh, man, Wayne's going to totally win the bet now because he's got the over points on me. But it just felt so good, man, to not sit and stress about the game. I could just sit back and enjoy it. I was so giddy by the end of this game. We're a serious contender, and I'm so stoked.
And we really, truly are. It was unfortunate, though, that the very next drive stalled out, like the 1 foot line, something like that, and Aaron Rodgers did not look too happy about how that one played out.
No, and here's the thing. You know from hearing me in previous weeks, I usually don't like that kind of aggression on fourth down this early in the game, but as soon as they missed the third down conversion, I was sitting in my chair going, go for it. I want you to go for it on fourth. I totally wanted it. And I liked the aggression this time around. However, I did not like the play call. It never makes any sense to me when they're on the 1 foot line and it was a shotgun play. Why are you doing a shotgun play? Just what happened to the good old days of quarterback sneak? Can we bring that back, please?
I hadn't even thought of the quarterback sneak, but I did think as soon as it didn't work, I almost sent you a text message saying, I think we're going to get another safety on this next play.
I was chatting with a friend who's a Falcons fan during the game, and if that's okay, we're going to get a safety on the next play. And unfortunately, that didn't happen, but What can I say?
Yeah, well.
Also, Aaron Rodgers, we know that he likes to spread the ball out. It's just kind of his MO, right? But he was thrown to just about as many running backs as he was wide receivers and tight ends this game. I mean, it was crazy to see. You know, there was no Devontae Adams, no Lazard, no problem. It was insane how explosive this offense is with 2 of our star wide receivers out of the mix. Imagine how unstoppable we can be with both of our star wide receivers back in the lineup for week 6. It's just going to be nuts.
Yeah, and I can't wait because I knew that Aaron Jones, we all know, basically, that Aaron Jones does have great hands. So we were not surprised, but I don't think the Falcons had the memo that this dude's a pretty good receiver as well.
Seriously, he was just a straight-up receiver. And also, Williams, he was even outperforming Jones as well throughout the entire game. It was great to see him basically be the lead running back in this game. It was so much fun to watch so many players, even some names I hadn't seen in a while or were new ones. We got a little from MVS. You know, it's just the ball was spread all over the place. Good fundamental football, which was one of my keys to victory, just saying. And just solid. It just felt everything just runs like a well-oiled machine, and it was just an absolute blast to watch.
But I don't think any of us could foresee that this was going to be the week for tight end Robert Bobby Tonyan to get 3 touchdowns in one game.
That is insane to me. It just you never see a tight end get 2 touchdowns in a game.
True.
Much less 3. In fact, they were talking about one of the stats. I don't know if you picked this up, but one of the announcers was saying that the highest paid tight end in the league is George Kittle.
Right.
And George Kittle has never had 2 touchdowns in a single game, much less 3. What? Where did Tonyan come from? It was so cool. And the best part is he's sitting on the bench. Just like all lackadaisical, like, yeah, no big deal. I just, 3 touchdowns, 1 game, whatever.
Yeah, I run out there. Aaron throws me the ball. I catch it. Oh, it's an end zone. Cool.
It's just like another day at work for him. It just blows my mind. I would be jumping up and down and high-fiving everybody, but no, he just sat down, just need to get some Gatorade, I'm good. Here's the thing that makes me a little bit nervous about that, because I wanted to think back about when did we ever see it again. I believe that Jermichael Finley pulled that hat trick back in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's not even that far back, but we all know what happened to Jermichael Finley. He turned into Stonehands McGuff, in the latter end of his career. Tanya, please don't follow in his footsteps, please.
Maybe next game he can get 4 touchdowns, and then he's setting the whole new standard.
Oh, there you go. And then just kind of increase it every week. He's doing like 12, 13
Well, I think
touchdowns.
It's only fair, because, Tom Brady, at least when Gronkowski was at 100%, he would be a tight end that Brady would go to quite a bit. So why not, when we play against Brady and Gronk in a couple weeks, that we show him how it's done to the tight ends these days?
I like that mentality, man. That's awesome. One of the other things that I loved about this game is just the amount of jovial laughter and smiles there was with the Packers. Rodgers was grinning more than I feel like I've seen him grin all year long, and we've been winning this season. Do you remember when LaFleur called a timeout and Rodgers hiked the ball in time? And you could see the look on his face, and I was able to read his lips. He's like, "Why'd you stop?" But he had a big grin on his face, like, "I got this, man. You wasted a timeout." Not that we really need the timeouts, but that and my favorite moment of the entire game was when Tanyan scored his 3rd touchdown, and Rodgers walks up to him and puts his hands down by his waist and goes 1, 2, 3. Like that was what I was referencing in the opening of this show. That sense of humor, that camaraderie, feels like it's just back in full force this year, and it just makes me so proud to be a Packers fan.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, and there was a lot of magical gelling between players last year as well, just in a different way. Every team's different every year, but there is, I don't know, it just seems like there's a bit of magic happening this year, which can lead to a lot of things at the end of the season.
Absolutely. I also love the post-game interview with Rodgers, the social distancing interview he had, where the reporter was actually in the stands at Lambeau Field, which was hilarious.
Yes.
But I couldn't tell if it was Williams or Jones, or maybe even somebody else that came up and gave him bunny ears. The Packers are notorious for messing with each other while they're being interviewed, and I love seeing that. Do you remember back when Clay Matthews used to come behind Rodgers with like that long super lens camera and just stand behind him and pretend like he's taking pictures? That stuff cracks me up, and I love that that's there. The other thing I want to say in terms of positivity is I love that the press now, it just seems that LaFleur and Rodgers are completely fine. Like we went into this season that there's animosity between them, and Rodgers is not going to do whatever LaFleur says. But now all they're saying is, there's a mutual respect. That was the phrase that was said quite a bit. There's a mutual respect. Oh, so they're winning, and now there's a mutual respect. Come on, guys.
Yeah. They'll find something to talk about later, but for now, all is well. And I like the one graphic that was put up on the screen during the game. They showed about, it was around halftime, somewhere around there, showing the most touchdowns thrown by a quarterback at one particular stadium. And between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, both being in the top 5 all time, there's been a lot of dang touchdowns thrown at Lambeau Field in the last 25 years.
That is true. I think they were comparing it to some other players as well. I think Rodgers has a long way to go to catch up to Drew Brees. But
right.
We'll see what happens. So many touchdowns, that dude. He's an amazing player.
If you combine Brett Favre's touchdowns at Lambeau and Aaron Rodgers' touchdown at Lambeau, you combine them, and it far supersedes all of them. Let's just say we've been blessed at Green Bay Packers Lambeau Field for the last 25, 26 years or so.
Seriously, it's just so nice to have that locked down for this long. I just pity for the day when we we run out of that luck, because it just feels so good having such a top-tier quarterback in our roster. It's great. I got some interesting numbers for you too, Wayne, because after this game, LaFleur's record as head coach of the Packers is officially 17-3, which is an 85% win ratio, which is awesome.
Yes.
Super impressive for this is his first time head coaching an NFL team, and he's doing great. But I wanted to compare that to some other Packers coaches and see how he fared against these first 20 games of the season. So I actually did some research. So this is based off of Wikipedia, so it depends on how accurate you take that. But Mike McCarthy's first 20 games, His record was 12-8, which is 60%. Mike Holmgren's first 20 games was 10-10, 50%. And again, both of those head coaches won Super Bowls. And interestingly enough, Vince Lombardi's first 20 games, his record was 14-6, which is only 75%. So LaFleur is officially having a better win percentage than Vince Lombardi. Let that sink in for a minute.
Hey, if LaFleur goes on to get 5 championships in 6 years, like Lombardi's Packers did, but it's still a fantastic start, better than I think almost any of us could have expected.
Absolutely. And just to be clear, that was a regular season games. I did not include postseason or preseason at all. So that was just straight regular season games.
And a few nitpicks as far as lowlights, this crazy year that we've had. It's weird. When I see a lot of these empty stadiums on TV all around the country, it doesn't seem all that odd to me, though it probably should. But I tell you what, seeing Lambeau Field under the lights with no people in the stands looks all kinds of strange and wrong.
It really does. And the crowd noise that they had for this game, it felt like it was much lower than most games I played. And the intense cheering, like when a score happens, it felt like it was delayed by about 5 seconds. Like the play is over and all of a sudden now we hear the crowd noise come up. So that was strange. The Lambeau leaps just aren't the same. It's just, it's very odd. It's almost sacrilegious to see a football game being played in Lambeau without fans there. I mean, and even some of the other games, you see like some friends and family and stuff out in the stands.
Right.
Lambeau is empty, just like devoid of anybody. It's just very eerie and off-putting.
Especially when it's our beloved Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back to Lambeau, man. We got to go to a game together, man. We've been doing this for over a year now. We have to make that happen. You're the one that's got to travel is the thing.
Let's go ahead and solve this stupid COVID thing, get that out of the way, and let's make it happen.
Let's do it. We do have some injuries to report on as well. Kevin King, he's got a quad injury of some sort. Rodgers did get hit in a weird way. I wasn't really sure what happened. It looked like he stubbed his toe, might have tweaked his knee just a little bit. But according to the interview that I alluded to earlier, he told the reporter that he was just fine and he hurt his pride more than anything else.
Right. So we're counting on that.
And then rookie tight end Josiah DeGara got rolled up on as well. That looked like it was pretty painful. So, man, I don't want to fall into this injury rut that we tend to do about the halfway point of the season. It's way too early to be doing this, but hopefully the bye will help us get through that and get us back healthy for week 6.
Absolutely. And just a minor thing, it was just wild seeing Mason Crosby miss that extra point. It's not that kickers never miss, It's just a good reminder that Mason is human after all, and it was just an extra point kick, not a field goal. In fact, Marty Koopman in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook group commented that it was all the way back to week 16 of last season when Mason Crosby last missed an extra point kick.
And like you said, at least it was this game where it wasn't a crucial game-winning field goal or anything like that. I don't want to... Remember that year, was it 2 years ago, where he just had a real slump and we lost a couple games, but he bounced back and McCarthy said, nope, he's our guy, and stayed with him, and thank God he did, because he really is solid. But it is weird to miss a pat. I mean, a field goal is one thing. At home, yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I had one other thing I wanted to bring up to you and see what you thought, because I was discussing this with my I have a group chat that I've got with some buddies that are all Packers fans. Did you think that maybe we should have pulled Rodgers at some point in the fourth quarter when we were ahead by so much? Just better safe than sorry kind of thing. Maybe let Love see what he can do for a while.
I don't know. I can definitely see the merit in that. Of course, Love, I don't believe he was even suited up for this game. We would have seen a little more of Tim Boyle.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that maybe closer to the end of the game, not necessarily waiting till that final drive to put in Boyle for he was just out there to take the knee on the last play of the game, I believe.
Right.
Doesn't matter too much either way. I don't know. We just got to keep the groove going, and I don't think it's so much about Aaron Rodgers trying to prove anything necessarily. I just think that could be something he picked up from Brett Favre. I know Brett Favre would almost never come out of the game, no matter what.
Right. Yeah, He play a game like with a shoulder injury or something at one point? It's just, yeah.
Yeah, he had one where his hand, he had an injured thumb or something. He had this giant cast on his thumb, and he was still better than half the quarterbacks in the NFL.
I'm just a big safety first guy. It's only week 4, and I haven't seen a lot of Boyle or Love, for that matter, to know what our chances are if that happens. But if something happens to Rodgers, one of the biggest things that's going to be a factor is just the morale of the team. Because he seems like such a natural leader. He's got a good sense of humor, and if that happens, it's going to be hard to get them to go under a new QB's leadership. But so let's keep him healthy, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the fact that we were at home might have played into it a bit as well. If this was like on the road in Frisco, I think things could have been a little bit different. But luckily, he says he's just fine, and the only thing really banged up is his pride. So,
yep, exactly.
We've got that going on. Let's check in with the listener feedback because we got some more fantastic thoughts from y'all. You can be part of the next episode as we preview the game against the Buccaneers next week. So call us at 920-3PACK-GO. Again, 920-3PACK-GO. Or from anywhere in the world, you can focus and gather your thoughts and record your message right on your phone or your laptop. Attach it to an email and send it directly to me at wayne@PackersFanPodcast.com. The deadline to get your voice messages in to be part of next week's Packers at Bucks preview episode is back to our regular Sunday night at midnight Central time frame. Again, 920-3PACK-GO, or attach that to an email, wayne@PackersFanPodcast.com. Thank you for your support, and go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go! Go Pack Go! We got a tight end, number 85. Man, what a game, what a game. No Lazard, no Devontae, and we still put up 30 points. The defense gave up a lot of chunks in the fourth quarter, really only a touchdown early in the fourth, but they played big inside the red zone. Great stop on fourth down. I guess my only worry would be the injury bug. Last year we were very, very fortunate to avoid a lot of injuries, and we've already lost Lazard and Devontae. I know thankfully we're going to the bye week. Hopefully after the bye week people are rested up and healed up. Rodgers thankfully is not hurt, although there was a little bit of scare in the fourth quarter. Man, it just felt like a lot of our players kept getting shooken up. But, it is football, so something to keep an eye out for. Good job to the GM. I forget his name right now. I'm really excited about the victory. I asked for 3-1. They gave us 4-0. The defense is very much improved. It's not tremendous defense, but very impressive. They're not giving up the big plays is what we can ask for. Atlanta's still a good team despite their record 0-4. And we didn't get to stop in the red zone, but they did hold strong most of the game. So I was very impressed, very impressed. And what more can I say for Matt LaFleur? He had some big shoes to fill, but it's clearly, not clearly showing, but I don't want to poo-poo Mike McCarthy. He did help us get a Super Bowl ring, but it looks like Aaron Rodgers just needed a new guy to call plays, and I love what I'm seeing. Love you guys. Go, Pat, go! 4-0, baby!
Andre, I cannot even begin to express how happy it is to hear your voice this week. We got a little worried last week, wondering if something happened. Missed your Go Pack Go on the episode for sure, but love the enthusiasm you got here, man. I love that he said, I asked for 3-1 and they gave me 4-0. That's great. You got to love it when the Packers give us more than we ask for.
Yes.
And yeah, it feels good to have a tight end again. It really does feel good to have a tight end again. Tanyan, man, I'm this close to buying a Tanyan jersey. I'm just saying. That game was awesome.
Yeah, and Andre, again, great to hear from you again. And just like you mentioned earlier in the show, Andre also a little bit worried about possible injury bug hitting like last season, but actually all the seasons except for last season, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we've always been injury prone except for last season. It's first time I can remember.
Hi, this is Ginger out in Southern California. Longtime Packers fan, new to the podcast. Love it, guys. Great job. What a victory today. Woo! Go, Pack, go. Can you believe Aaron Rodgers put up all those scores without his two main receivers. Let's go, Pack. Nothing can stop us now. Go, Pack, go. Woo!
Awesome. Great to hear from you, Ginger. Thanks for giving us a call at 920-3-PACK-GO. And I love the last sentiment. Nothing can stop us now, Scott.
I do love that. And Ginger, it is really great to hear from a new listener. Really appreciate you checking out the show and calling in. You're right. What a great victory. And you're echoing what I'm saying. Our two biggest offensive weapons are gone, and we still put up 30 points. We are going to be unstoppable, and I cannot wait. It's going to be a bummer to not have a game next week as much as we need to buy. I'm so high on life right now.
Yeah,
it's good. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself next Sunday.
On the plus side, there are some teams that we can root against.
Oh yes,
week,
I mean, one in Chicago. Just saying.
Yeah.
Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go. Beautiful game. There was some, defense issues, but they got the win. And, hey, upside for the Falcons, they broke the streak of losing a fourth quarter lead. Go, Pack, go.
Well played, Bill. Well played. The Falcons didn't have a fourth quarter lead to blow, so, hey, things are improving, right?
That was my favorite meme of the weekend. That meme that goes around with the guy pointing at his head, I'm thinking about it, and it said, "You can't blow a fourth quarter lead if you never have a lead to begin with." Thanks, Bill.
Go, Pack, go. 4-0. Oh, man. This is Jared in Colorado. Figured I'd finally call in this season. Man, I love this football team. It is just fantastic. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, mwah, chef's kiss. Aaron Jones, mwah. Zadarius Smith, mwah. Robert Tonyan, there we go. Mwah. Just all sorts of mwah, all around the field today on offense in the last 4 weeks. It is just great offensive performance. Matt LaFleur's, the flashes of what LaFleur envisioned for the offense last season, but just couldn't quite get going, consistently has shown up, and it is beautiful. Overall, love this game. Like I said, especially Robert Tonyan, super happy for him. Would love to see more MVS here obviously later in the season. He made some big splashes in the first 2 weeks, and he's been mostly kind of silent for the tonight and last week. But either way, we're finding ways to win and win handily. I think that's what I love about it, and is that it's just been great. I feel like I'm rambling right now, but the point is, this is a great game. Defensive side of the ball, still would love to see the tackling cleaned up. I feel like this could have been much more of a blowout. If we tighten up some of those tackling techniques and work on that. I'm hoping that guys get healthy. But I love it. This is all sorts of fun and exciting. I love being a Packers fan right now and all the time. But it's obviously a lot better when we're winning. So we're 4-0. We are one heck of a force to be reckoned with, and the rest of the NFL better watch out, because Aaron Rodgers is playing with a chip on his shoulder, and anytime that happens, it's a beautiful sight. And speaking of which, he is happy. Like, Rodgers looks like he's having genuine fun every single night, and doesn't really look like he's breaking that much of a sweat, which is impressive. So, anyways, love this team, love this podcast. You guys keep up the good work. Go Pack, go, green and gold till dead and cold, and talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks so much, Jared. I seriously love recording a podcast with you, Wayne, after a Packers win, because the enthusiasm from the listeners and the voicemails is just palpable. I love it. Jared, great to hear from you. My favorite thing he mentioned was Rodgers smiling and just looking like he's not breaking a sweat. Exactly how it feels. It just felt like it didn't even feel like an NFL game in terms of how much fun they were having. It looked like a high school or college game where they're just out there having a good old time. It was so much fun to watch this game. And Tonyan, we've said enough about Tonyan. Love the chef's kisses, by the way. I could see it.
Oh, Jared, yes, the chef kisses. That's a first here on the Packers Fan Podcast. In the middle of our 10th season, we've never had chef kisses, and Jared brought them for so many players that are doing well this season. That was fantastic.
Great.
And good point. We would like to see a bit more from Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I thought last night was going to end up being his night, but Tanyan, it was his turn. So Marquez, next time, right?
Well, I think that we'll see MVS come through. Last season he came through in the clutch more than one time, and I think that's where we'll see him excel this season as we get through a few more weeks. And at least that's what I'm going to predict. Bold prediction from Scott Clark.
Hey, it's Joe in Kentucky. Go Pack Go still rhymes with 4-0. Kind of nervous here with Aaron. Still a little gimpy on his knee at the end of the game. Several other injuries after Sunday and Monday nights. I'm kind of looking forward to the bye week. I hope everyone can get healthy. Couldn't tell if we played really well or if they played really bad, but probably some of both. Good to see the team playing relaxed. That was nice.
Yes.
Okay, gotta go to bed. I get up at 4:30 every day. 4-0. Go Pack Go.
Exactly. Joe, thank you so very much for giving us a call at 920-3-PACK-GO, which rhymes with 4-0 and Go Pack Go. Good to hear from you. And yeah, you weren't the only. Listen to Scott. He always laughs at poetry. He's just that kind of guy. But I, too, was a little bit nervous watching Aaron Rodgers get a little bit gimpy there. I'm like, no, not this year. But like you said, he's fine. And, with this game getting pushed back about a half hour, and then it got pushed back another 10 minutes, it turned into a pretty late night for folks back east. And if you got a 4:30 wake-up call, I totally understand. Oh,
I had a 4:30 wake-up call too, man. I'm in Central, but that was a late night for sure. And it took me a long time to center myself and calm back down and be able to go to sleep because I was at a peak, man. I was so excited at the end of that game.
Did your victory tie make its appearance in the
No,
classroom?
man. I'm teaching from home, so I had to put on the victory sweatshirt instead. So I don't wear a tie at home.
Yeah, it's special pandemic wear. That's perfectly acceptable.
I did wear my Kenny Clark jersey all day long while I was teaching, though. I had my Packers sweatpants, my Packers T-shirt, my Packers jersey all day long.
Hey, this is Mark from New Lisbon. Always great to call after a Packer win. 4-0 is just great, so thanks, Scott and Wayne, for taking our calls every week. I want to start with the offense. I just think there's so much diversity and creativity on our offense, and it really challenges defenses, especially kind of weak ones like the Falcons. But if you look at what's happened, in the first week, all these Packers are just putting up these career high numbers. Devontae Adams, the first week, 14 catches. And in week 2, I think Aaron Jones had 168 yards rushing. And then last week, Allen Lazard had a career high 146 receiving yards. And then tonight, Robert Tonyan, who looked like, Gronk out there with 3 TDs. So LaFleur is just doing a great job with the offense. And our defense kind of delivered the goods tonight against a pretty good defense. And we were led by Zadarius Smith. Not to, do too much with stats here, but I think he had 8 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for losses, and then he had 3 quarterback hits at least. So he's just a leader on the defense, and when we get Clark back and get everybody healthy, I think our defense will be great too. So everything's good. The thing that continues to amaze me, no turnovers through 4 games. So think about that. And you have to credit Aaron Jones and A-Rod for that as they handle the ball and they have the most touches. Also, our offensive line is just protecting great and blocking so well for the run game. Football often comes down to blocking and tackling. So it's all good. 4-0 is the best record in the league. Seattle is 4-0 in the NFC, so we're fighting for that top spot in the home field. So thanks, guys, for the great podcast, and we got a bye week and then Tampa Bay coming up, so we'll talk to you after that game.
Thank you so much, Mark. I have a confession to make. Until this very moment, I did not realize that New Lisbon was in Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. I did not know there was a city in Wisconsin. This entire time, Wayne, I thought he was in Europe. I really thought we had a European listener. I don't know why that is. So we do, but I thought we had another European listener. So I apologize, Mark. That's so cool that Wisconsin. No turnovers. That is a really good point that we did not mention in our notes above here. That's huge. I mean, no interceptions, no fumbles, nothing at all. And I think we're the only team in the NFL that has that right now, which is nuts because we've been turnover prone in the past. And all
That's saying something.
Yeah. But the word he used was diversive and creative to talk about the offense, which is, I can't agree more. We're not relying on the pass anymore. We're not relying on those quick slants that we used to. I don't even know if I've seen a quick slant this year. Have you? Like, that was like our go-to.
I'm not 100% positive, but it is great to see so many different ways that we can succeed at getting first downs and moving down the field.
Absolutely. If we could just, on those goal line stances, stop doing shotgun running plays, because that doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know. Just leap one over, man. Can we? I'm going to say it again. Bring back the quarterback sneak.
Yeah, even if it's a case where we have to channel the Saints, bring in Tim Boyle to protect Aaron Rodgers, give the ball to Tim Boyle, and he can do a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, we can let him get injured. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying.
There was speaking of the Smith brothers, did you see they had a dual tackle sack? That was pretty cool to see. Those guys are just, I don't know. This feels like a what's that movie? Slapshot. Those two guys, those two hockey player goons. Like, I'm not saying this in a negative way towards the Smith brothers, but that's just like how I feel. It's like those two guys that are always there, being very physical, and just I love it. I just keep that going. It's like the two of them replace Clay Matthews. Like, it was so much fun to watch Matthews. Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Hey, this is Rick from Wisconsin calling, and I thought that was a pretty good performance by the Packers offense. The defense looked a little better than it did last week. There weren't any of those terrible plays like that Kamara run they had. But overall, they look pretty good. It's probably a good time for them to have the bye week with the injuries that they have, and they can come back. I mean, definitely racking up some good numbers, being looking like the best offense in the league, and look like they have a good shot to be definitely in the playoffs and probably go to the Super Bowl. But I really think if you're going to get to the Super Bowl and win, you're going to play Kansas City, you're going to have a defense that's better than what they have right now. So they better improve that. But overall, pretty good. I have a suggestion for next week if you're going to do a show during the bye week. Maybe have some fans call with some stories. I have one of my own about a time that they went to a Packers game, maybe their first visit to Lambeau Field, or if they went to Milwaukee County Stadium like I did with my first game. I think some stories like that from the fans would be a neat thing to do for the bye week. Thanks.
Awesome. Great to hear from you, Rick, in Wisconsin. Long-time listener. He may even go back to episode 1 of your Packers Fan Podcast. And I love what you're talking about there, Rick, with the fact that we do have a great shot of making it to the playoffs, but we also need to make sure that our defense needs to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs if they are, in fact, the AFC team that goes to the Super Bowl. We have to be able to win the Super Bowl, not just go there and hang out and whatever happens, happens. That's a good point. And yeah, that's a great idea. Listeners, our voicemail numbers 920-3PAT-GO, or record your voice message on your phone, attach it to an email, and send it to me at wayne@PackersFanPodcast.com. Share your stories of when you went to a Packers game, whether it was your first Packers game or something that made it your most memorable Packers game. Send those in. We'll share them on the next episode as we get ready to preview the Buccaneers game.
I love that idea. And he mentioned that he went to a game at County Stadium. I don't know if you're familiar. That's where the Brewers used to play before
Milwaukee.
they tore it down and built Miller Park. But what's interesting is, and I'll give mine now. I have another one I can give next week. I went to a game at County Stadium when they played the Vikings. So I think it would be super interesting if after that many years ago, come to find out that Rick and I were both at the same game together. That would be kind of a fun fact. So Rick, let me know if it was the Vikings game, because I definitely was there. I was a child, but I was there.
So in other words, you're not the guy that spilled beer on Rick stumbling down the stairs.
I'll plead the fifth.
4-0! 4-0! 4-0! We're not a one-man team anymore, and that's what the definition of a team is. It's like a group effort, baby. Let's go! I got my co-host here tonight, Peter Heiligenthal. Here we go.
Hey, Big night for the Pack, baby. Doesn't matter who's on the field as long as 12's there scoring points. It was awesome to see him spread the ball around. Can't get excited enough about all the talent on offense and defense. It's Zadarius, baby!
Woo! At the very end of the game, dude, he shows up to the very end, and it's like, is it not just fun to watch him, like, F the other guys over? Because that's kind of funny. This is Megan and Pete, by the way. We love you guys!
Go Pack, go, baby.
Go Pack, go! Packer Fan Podcast! Wayne and Scott, we love you guys! We got it, man, this year! We're bringing it green and gold, baby, so we're getting cold!
Quarter of the way through the season, top of the leaderboard, the NFC North. This is a championship caliber football team we've got in our hands, and I cannot wait to see how it unfolds.
We just can't stop thinking about this team win. Solid team win, coaching effort, player effort. Kenny's out, people are out. Oh my gosh, we miss you, Alan. Shout out Iowa State, heartbreaker, 100%. Dude, he was, after that breakout game, like, whatever. He's not going anywhere, but it's a super bummer, and we miss you. And, like, what's up with Big Dog, Mercedes Lewis? Like, after that TD last week, like, get well soon. And Bobby T, all day, every day. Dude, he has 3 TDs, and, like, I'm pretty sure that's 6 on the year after 4 games. And, like, Bobby Tanyan, does anyone know Bobby except for Aaron Rodgers? We all know who Bobby is because of Aaron freaking Rodgers, the leader of the Pack, baby. Let's go!
Go Pack, go, baby!
Yes!
She's still going. It cracks me up. Oh, Megan, we love you too. Thank you so much for the call. Love the enthusiasm. Would love to hear if you hit your head on the ceiling again watching the game this week. Yeah, Bobby Tanyan. That cracks me up when Rodgers just talks about him in an interview. Like, Bobby's doing great. Like, nobody ever you never hear an announcer call him Bobby. It's always Robert Tanyan. Oh, yeah, me and Bobby. I just love that. Championship caliber team. It's hard to argue with that, and I know we're a little biased because we're big fans, but they really are looking like it again. I can't wait to see. I just really am looking forward to the rest of the season, and it feels good to feel that way again after a long time.
It feels so good. And yes, Pete, thanks for bringing up that particular point, and thanks for the love in the voicemail, everybody. Megan, Pete. And shout out to all the injured players that we miss. We can't wait to see Kenny Clark on the field again, and Big Dog Mercedes Lewis, and Tom. Got to get everybody back on the field because there's some tough games coming up. No problem.
Go Pack, go indeed. It's Victory Tuesday. I don't know if this is too late to call, but I fell asleep during the game because that is late for me. But what a game. The offense was still clicking. Looks like LaFleur and Rodgers are definitely on the same page. I love the jet motion sweeps and the misdirection, utilizing everyone in the passing game. Really covered up the fact that we didn't have our top 2 targets. And when they come back, the offense is even more scary. And I was impressed on defense, even though the tackling is still an issue, but holding the Falcons to 16 points, definitely the best outing that we've had. Although the Falcons are not a team that I would say is like our weakness. Our kryptonite is definitely teams with strong running games because we cannot tackle and fill those gaps. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us later this year, but hopefully we can clean that up, or Rodgers can just score 45 points and then teams won't want to run the ball against us. But, yeah, super impressed with the season so far. 4-0, and LaFleur is starting out 17-4 over a season and a quarter here, not including playoffs, obviously. But, yeah, I'm impressed. It looks like a great hire so far. It looks like Rodgers has a lot left in the tank. And, yeah, I hope the season ends the way we all want it to, with that championship under our belts here. But yeah, have a great day, guys. Have a great Victory Tuesday.
All right. Thank you, mystery caller. We didn't catch your name, but appreciate the call. And I hope that you are driving hands-free. You're right. Calling in hands-free because it definitely sounded like you were in your vehicle. He brought up a really good point. Our defense held the Falcons to 16 points, which I know that the Falcons have lost the first 3 games of the season. However, they still put up quite a few points and lost it in the fourth quarter. So the fact that our defense did hold them to just the 16 was really great to see. So kudos to them on that. Victory Tuesday has a nice ring to it, by the way.
Yeah, it sounds as good as Victory Monday, just different.
Yeah, I like it.
So, yeah, hopefully you made that left turn safely and all is well. And give us a call next time after we beat the Buccaneers and let us know your name. We missed it, but that's all right. We just love hearing from you. This week, in our weekly poll that we post in the Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on the old Twitter at Packers Fan Pod, simple this time. Is this the absolute perfect time for the Packers to have their bye week? Scott, what say you? Yes or no?
I say absolutely. I mean, the obvious answer here is going to be the injuries right now. I know that, Rodgers, something happened to him. He says he's okay. I don't really have any reason to believe that he would lie about it. I trust him because he's done that before. He's admitted when he was hurt. Get Kenny Clark back to full speed, bring us back Adams, bring us back Lazard. This seems like a great time, especially since we're going to be going up against the on-fire Buccaneers. Who would have known the Buccaneers would be doing as well as they did? Granted, they lost week 1, but Tom Brady will do that for you. And that is going to be I feel like that's going to be the game of the week in terms of people talking about it, just because, Rodgers versus Brady and what's going to happen. It's going to be a shootout. We need the break. We need all the edge we can get against Brady, because if we can get past that game, I feel like we could really be putting a dent in the rest of the season after that. So I say it's a perfect time going up against Brady for sure. Would I've liked to have it closer in the middle of the season to give us a little bit more of a break, evened out, possibly, but I don't want to give up this streak right now, and anything to help keep that streak going, I'm all for. How about you?
So you don't think there's much of a chance of us just losing momentum and just coming back flat after a bye week?
No, I don't think so. I think that this game was quite relaxed, and I think it'll give them the 2 weeks to really dial things in, and because they know who they're facing next week, and they're going to need to get in the right mindset. And they usually come out of the bye pretty well, if memory serves me correctly, and I hope they continue that trend.
Well, guess what? The listeners that voted, and there was almost 100 votes this week, 77% said yes, this is the absolute perfect time for the Packers to have their bye week, and 23% said no. Don't know the reasons, but there you have it.
I would assume that their reasoning is that it's so early in the season. I feel like we have them earlier than everybody else every year, but because you want to have that break in closer to the middle of the season than at the beginning of this season. But I'd imagine that's the reason why. We had some comments as well on Facebook. Peter out in the UK, there's one of our European listeners. With the injuries mounting up, I say yes, but we need the 1 seed as the season is long. And with these injuries getting more frequent, we may need the rest and recovery time. I much prefer a mid-season break, but circumstances change. So it sounds like he thought that he would rather have it during the middle of the season, but after this past couple weeks, he's with me.
And Jared says, normally I'd say no, but giving these darn injuries and Rodgers landing weird on his leg this week, I say yes. It's still going to be a long haul, though.
Thank you so much for the feedback on there and for voting. I love that we had that many votes on that poll.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to emails. Hey, Wayne and Scott, Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher from Titletown, USA, Green Bay, Wisconsin. What a game. Robert Tonyan, 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 1 touchdown. It was looking great on the offense, but boy, we really must work on the defensive line and the secondary. We were all holding our breath when Rodgers tweaked his left leg. We're happy with the outcome. Go Pack Go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold. Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher. Thank you so much for the email, guys. Appreciate it.
Also got an email from Steven checking in from Palos Park, Illinois, where the Bears, this was a much better game for the Packers with even more defense than in week number 3. The best part is that the Packers never trailed against the Falcons. And why the heck should they? Also, this was the second game of the first 2 home games that fans were not allowed into the stadium. We'll have to wait to see what the Packers decide to do, whether or not they will allow fans, and if so, how many, when we get to those other home games that begin November 1st. It's not looking good in Wisconsin, though, but I digress. Back to Steven. So, while I was against of having the early bye, it's good that we have it now so we have more time to rest before week 6. And now that the Packers are heading into the bye week, it would be nice if we could get some healthy bodies back, including Scott Clark's buddy, Kenny Clark.
He's got a great last name. What can I say?
He does. He's carrying on the tradition for you, Scott. Stephen finishes up. The next 13 days give Scott Clark plenty of time to start practicing singing in falsetto in the Frankie Valli style there, in case he does end up losing the wager o' fun this year.
I don't know if that's going to happen, man. Falsetto is not my bag.
Well, we'll find out. I wonder when the last time was the Packers beat Tom Brady. Would Scott and Wayne care to comment about that one? Yes, I would, as a matter of fact. I believe it was November of 2014. The Packers fended off the New England Patriots 26-21. Can I get a go, Pack, go?
Go, Pack, go. And yes, I can confirm that. I looked it up as well.
We're on the same page.
I know, man.
Wikipedia page or internet page or whatever it was. But
simpatico.
It's one of those things where, fortunately, we didn't play the Patriots every single year because that would get really old. But
yes, it would.
Also got some great feedback from the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community group. Again, that's at packerscommunity.com. Peter in the UK, it's 5:20 in the morning, and I'm just failing to think of the words to describe this game other than it is Tanyan time, baby! A fully fit offense, and we put up 50 there, but Tanyan is the best tight end we have since Jermichael Finley. Such a safe set of hands. The D was surprising for me. Here I am expecting a shootout, and they hold the Falcons to 16, and the game doesn't look in doubt by halftime because we look like we controlled both sides of the ball. The defense looked better, the more injuries. Has Summers made that much of a difference? Glad we have the bye week. Plenty of injuries today with such an early bye week. The number 1 seed is a big thing for us, but we got it at 4-0 at this point, top of the division and looking very good. Keep up the good work, guys, and can we get a warning before Andre destroys my ears again, please? I love to enjoy it, but my ears. Go, Pack, go. Oh, trust me, we have mechanics in place where it can't possibly go beyond a certain decibel level, depending on the sound system you're listening to the show in, of course.
I think I'm going to make Andre my ringtone on my cell phone is what I'm going to do.
I think that's a fine idea.
It's a great idea. We also got a one from Lofia who says Pettin needs to dial up some better blitz scheme for that defense. It always seems that the Packers defense just slows down in the second half. If they can find a way to play stingy all 4 quarters, then the Packers will have a dominant team. Tanyan put in a lot of hard work today, and he has earned my respect. Go, Pack, go. Also, Jared McChinney-Kerr wrote in, said, can we appreciate the discipline of LaFleur, how he has instilled on the sideline mask wearing? I have yet to see anyone on our sidelines take off their mask this season, at least when the camera pans to the sideline. That's a good point. I saw a lot of masks being pulled down for conversations all over the place, but never on the Packers sideline. I don't know if they just caught him at the right time, but that was pretty cool to see.
It was, and that's an excellent observation because after seeing some of the photos of Raiders coach Chucky on the sideline with looked like he had some old thong just hanging off of his face crooked. It's like, really? Come on, Raiders.
You don't wear a thong on your face, Wayne?
No, I wear a Packers Fan Podcast mask, hand sewn by Scott Clark.
Look at you, man.
Of course,
Plugging it away.
I don't wear it when I podcast because something along those lines. But you get the idea. You too can join the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community, be part of the conversations at packerscommunity.com, especially on game day. We have a live game discussion thread that's always fun. You can share your highs and lows throughout the game, and who knows which direction we'll have more of when we face the Buccaneers. But we shall see. No game to predict this time, but let's see how we did with our predictions for this week, Scott. Break it down for us.
Well, we got a little bit of a situation here, Wayne, because as you know...
What is this,
got a
Jersey
situation.
Shore?
Jeez. Yeah, my abs are talking. So as you know, you are leading right now 3-0.
I am aware.
Going into this game, and I'm not sure what to do with this because we have an interesting situation in that I called the game at 30-20 Packers. You called the game 33-17 Packers winning. The game actually wound up being 30-16, and if you do the math, the differential is actually 4 for both of us. So we both called the game. We both were off by 4 points on both sides of the ball. So it's a tie. So the question for you is, and I'm going to sound biased. I don't know what to do with this, but we tied. However, I did call the Packers score exactly right. I called 30 points exactly. The question to you is that enough to give me a W this week, or are we going to call this a straight-up tie for the week? I will put it in your hands.
That is a tough question.
Should we ask the community and just let them tell us next week?
They can certainly try to sway me. Either way, listeners, 920-3PAC-GO. I'm kind of thinking of, okay, let's give Scott the victory because he did guess the Packers score.
Oh, no, I don't want any pity scores here, man. Come on. I'm just saying, I did have one of the numbers exactly right. 30 points for the Packers. They scored 30 points for the Packers. I feel like that should give me a little bit of an edge.
If only Mason Crosby hadn't missed that extra point. Or,
yeah, right.
On the other hand, if the Falcons kicker hadn't missed his extra point, then I would have had the Falcons score exactly right.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad. I was kind of rooting for the Falcons to score that one last time, and so I could take the edge on you, but I felt really guilty about it.
Wow.
So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We still haven't decided this bet. I don't know about Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, but we had some other suggestions come in, didn't we?
Yes, Monica on Twitter sent in her suggestion that whoever loses needs to sing the ever-popular Bang on the Drum All Day, originally done by Todd Rundgren.
Which is really funny, because as soon as I read that message, I actually sent you a video, Wayne, of me singing that song back in 2011 when the Packers triumphed over the Pittsburgh Steelers to win that Super Bowl, and I may have had a few beverages in me and was singing at the top of my lungs with some friends, and so that could definitely happen. But I feel like, do we just do the regular song, or do we like make parody lyrics, or I don't know what we do, but that would be fun.
I think doing the regular song, but finding a way to bring in the Packers flair would, of course, be nice. Now, of course, you do have the past experience of singing that song, but you would need to sing it live on the podcast. We can't play that old clip from the Super Bowl victory party, of course.
That's true. Also, we had some other suggestions. Somebody by the name of Wright9215 suggests you guys should rap the Lil Wayne Green and Yellow Go Pack and Go. I don't know what's scarier, the thought of me singing Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, or me rapping. Me rapping is probably nothing that's going to be good for your ears. Scott Boers also wrote in with a YouTube video. He says, you guys wanted a song for your bet? This song was being played in Green Bay when the Packers went to the Super Bowl in 96. Hey, it's Packer related, and the song is a parody of the Macarena called the Packarena. Packarena?
Oh. No. Oh my.
Man, that's a lot of lyrics. It's a lot of lyrics. Just going to tell you right off the bat.
I think that's why Mr. Boers selected that one, maybe with you in mind, unless you make a dramatic turnaround.
Maybe. I've actually met Scott Boers in Green Bay. I actually went and had a beer with him, so he's a really cool guy.
Of course he is. He's a listener of the Packers Fan Podcast. Duh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent. So, yeah, for sure, by the time we record the next episode, we'll have the song in place for Scott and for myself. We will have this hammered out, and that way we can just go on the rest of the season as Wayne picks a lot of great Packers victories, and we'll see what happens there. So, the NFC North. Now, it's going to get wacky from here on out because, of course, the bye week is going to throw everything in disarray until all the byes are over. But the Packers were in first place in the NFC North, 4-0. The Bears fell to 3-1. That's too bad. The Lions are 1-3, and the Vikings are 1-3.
I mean, look on the bright side, Wayne. No matter what happens this coming week, the Packers are not going to be knocked out of first place.
True that.
So there's nothing bad that can happen to us in terms of that, but it would feel nice to have that cushion against the Bears going into Week 6 for sure. We also wanted to talk about some general things going on in the NFL. The biggest thing that I noticed, and I wanted to mention it, I don't know if you saw it, and I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Brandon, is it Ayuk? A-I-Y-U-K? Did you see this play where he hurdled one of the Eagles to go in for 6 points? It was one of the most insane hurdles I've ever seen in all of my years watching football. I've watched it multiple times.
Is that the one where it mostly looked bad because the Eagles player was like grasping at air trying to make the tackle?
Yeah, it looked like he was tackling at nothing. It was kind of, watching in slow motion especially was hilarious. But I just couldn't take my eyes off Brandon because it was a beautiful hurdle. It looked like he was one of those sprinters running over those hurdles on a track. Beautifully executed. It's a thing of beauty.
I agree. The hurdles are fun to watch. Personally, I think they're way too dangerous, and these running backs need to stop. Somebody's going to get hurt really badly one of these times.
On either side, really.
Yeah, it's just either run or don't. That's just
Right.
my thought. Something that struck out at me during the weekend was the Cowboys, the Bears, and the Niners all lost on the same day. How cool is that?
That was very cool to see. I loved it. It's just a great weekend of football all around.
Yeah. Packers
I
win
just loved
and
it.
all those others lose.
Although I got to say, I feel a little guilty cheering against McCarthy because he was my boy for a long time. So
I know.
I'm not mad at him, but
I'm not mad at him. I just hate the Cowboys.
I hear you.
So, and to be beaten by the Browns, I mean, the Browns all of a sudden are legit. They're 3-1, and the Cowboys let them come down to Dallas and roll up 49 points on them, which really should have only been 48, but because the Cowboys are the Cowboys, it turned into 49. That extra point kick that was blocked.
Yep. It was a crazy game to watch. There was so much stuff going on in that game. It was nuts.
That was wild. And the one other thing, I'll post the link to this article in the show notes at PackersFanPodcast.com for this episode, as well as in the podcast player. Something that I've been saying on the podcast for years now, I've actually been trying to say it less because I know it's the same all the time, but the injuries, are they worse because field turf, aka the new and improved AstroTurf? It just seems like the AstroTurf, the field turf, whatever you want to call it, is not better than grass and is more dangerous than grass. And ESPN had an article from the president of the Players Union where he's calling for teams to switch to grass. And I know a couple of players on the 49ers after their game against the Giants are at least calling for that New York stadium to get rid of their field turf as well. It's just bonkers out there. And now other people are involved.
What do you do for an indoor stadium, though? You can't have grass in an indoor stadium, right?
The Cardinals do, and it's like 120 degrees out there. They have an indoor stadium. They have grass. It wheels outside for watering and care and mowing or whatever, and then they wheel it back in. And I believe the new Raiders stadium in Vegas might be doing the same thing. Vegas isn't the easiest place in the world to grow grass, and a lot of these stadiums that have this field turf are outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, really? If the Packers can have beautiful grass at their outdoor stadium where it turns into the frozen tundra on some occasions in December and January, everybody can do it. I'll link to that article, and I think this is building up some steam.
All right, man. I have to keep an eye on that for sure. That's super interesting. Well, moving on. If you love football, there's a good chance you probably love video games. And if you love them as much as I do, please be sure to check out my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider, which can be heard at the same places you'll listen to this one. This week, we were doing community questions. So once a month, we ask the community for discussion topics, video game related or otherwise, and we discuss it. So be sure to check that out. You'll also hear us talk about the new Star Wars game, Star Wars Squadrons, which is fantastic. You get to fly around in an X-Wing or a TIE fighter. It's amazing. Our website, if you'd like to check it out, is thegamingoutsider.com, or you can check out the podcast the same place you'll listen to this one. Also, on our website, we have those that Wayne mentioned earlier, the handmade Packers Fan Podcast masks. If you'd like to help support Packers Fan Podcast and The Gaming Outsider, you can find those at thegamingoutsider.com/thego-shop.
And although we did not win Best Sports Podcast in the annual People's Choice Podcast Awards, it truly was an honor to be nominated and make it all the way to the finalist portion. With your help, you, the listener, you made it happen. We want to thank you for that. And because in the, I think there's been the Podcast Awards for 15 years now, 14, 15 years. There's only been 3 different fan podcasts for an NFL team that have ever made it to the finals. One was my buddy Subes. He does a Cincinnati Bengals podcast. He recently brought it back just 2 weeks ago, the Inside the Jungle podcast. He might have even won about 10 years ago for that podcast. And then, of course, our buddies at the Seahawkers podcast have made the finals. But no other team, as far as I can recall, has ever had a fan podcast devoted to their team, make it to the finals. And we are very proud that you helped make us the Packers podcast that's been in the finals 4 or 5 times. Thank you so very much.
MVPs do love value, and what a value we have available for you over at patreon.com. As you probably know, we pay for the show ourselves here, and your contributions help us improve the show every other week. And if you'd like to become a patron of the Packers Fan Podcast, you can do so. All of your pledges are reinvested into making the show better for you. That includes MP3 hosting, audio editing, engineering, and so forth. We want to give some shout-outs to some of our contributors. A huge Go Pack Go goes out to Bryant for his continued support of our podcasting efforts at our Willie Wood $24 level in Patreon. Thank you as always. Next up, Go Pack Go, and thank yous to the Texas-only Green Bay Packers fanatics. We appreciate and make great investments into the show with your AR12 $12 monthly Patreon pledges. Thank you so much.
Also, $4 Brett Favre-inspired monthly Patreon support. Thank you, and Go Pack Go for your support. Lawrence Harvey and Jeff Summerfield, as well as Curly Lambeau. He has his Go Pack Go shout-outs as well at the $1 Curly support level. Beth Mintick, thank you for joining the team and supporting the podcast. Also, Hank Davis from the TPE Network of Podcasts, Remy Lavictoire, Matt Haig, and Joe Christensen. You too can financially support the podcast at a level that'll match your budget and get cool Packers Fan Podcast logo merchandise. The details are at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast. Thank you, and Go Pack Go. And as a reminder, the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but it could be. Media at PackersFanPodcast.com is where to send those emails if it can happen.
Also, you can follow us on Twitter at PackersFanPod, or if you'd like to follow my personal Twitter account, it is at GoCastScott, and Wayne's is at Wayne Henderson. And do us a favor, tell your friends, give us a listen on your Packers Fan Podcast. We would love the endorsement.
Absolutely. And get your feedback sometime before Sunday night at midnight Central to be part of next week's show to preview the Packers at Buccaneers game. Again, call 920-3PACK-GO or go to PackersFanPodcast.com/contact.
Be sure to subscribe in your podcast player of choice so you don't miss an episode. As we wrap up, it is now time for the Texas-only Green Bay Packers fanatics to sign us out to help keep us loyal to the soil during this bye week.
This is Dawn down here in Texas, a.k.a. Granny Cheese.
Hi, I'm James.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Hi, I'm Melissa.
Hi, I'm Susan.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
Hi, I'm Lisa Montgomery, and we want to say,
Go Pack Go!